that was then written by Mahathir, Dr. Mahathir. Well, Tunku had already decided that the book should be banned. I just carried out a formal exercise on the topic. Now, my committee, the French Trust, included Malays, Chinese, Indians, very civil people, very balanced, supposed to be, all balanced. And the decision was that, the conclusion was that we all agreed with Tunku's decision, except for one. The one who dissented with the agreement was the chairman, myself. I did not agree because I felt at that stage that there was some because of credibility in what Dr. Mahathir had said, because that man seemed to be so compassionate about helping his people. And at that stage, the Malay economy was really quite far behind, very far behind. Because of my background, I grew up in a very mixed society. I came from a very poor family, and I stayed in a attap house. My left neighbor was a Malay. My right neighbor was a rickshaw puller's house, and beyond that it was a Malay Haji. They said he was head of the Parang. That was the story. What was quite normal to me, because every morning the Chinese bookseller with his bicycle would come and park in front of the rickshaw puller's house. And Haji was watching everything. He saw no offense there. And his son used to come to my house, stay in my house, eat my house. And he used to call my mother Mom, because his mother died when he was young. So, and every day, see, my house is located in Taipei along Tupai Road. And Tupai Road is a place where all the funerals end. And as you see, when the big funerals come, my God, all the Malays, Chinese and Indians will line up along the corridor, 5 foot away of my house there, watching and commenting, wow, today's funeral, very grand. But nobody got annoyed. The Malays around there, the Chinese there, the Indians there. And then for the surah, every day the dong, 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 nobody worried about the sound. Nowadays, everybody seems to be so sensitive. Now, what's happened to that? Now, what I'm trying to portray in the book is to show the past, bring out the present, and see what is wrong, what is going on in our society. Why, instead of getting closer after 50 years of independence, we seem to be drifting apart? Why? Because race is more important. Our greatest threat is not religion, because no religion, especially Islam, is racial. No. But it's a racism that is the most dangerous threat to our nation. But anyway, now coming back to this topic of the agenda of the IGP, I do not know very much about the individuals who can take over or cannot take over. But from whatever I observed, having been a police for 35 years, I know what the police mentality is. I know. During the emergency, you know how I grew up fighting the communists. When we first started, I tell you, we knew nothing about communism. No? Everything that's red, a piece of red cloth, we thought the fellow must be a communist. And yet, Chinese weddings, you see the red cloth in front of the And that was the mentality at one time of the police, until they were awakened. Slowly, the people like me, telling them, for heaven's sake, be more broad-minded. But the problem is that our police forces grew up along emergency lines. That sort of psychology has remained. You see, at that stage, we had a national threat. Everybody willing to fight the communists to protect the future country. But what our enforcement people have not realized that we are no longer fighting communists. We are a democracy. We have to allow democratic processes to go on. We cannot remain in the old thinking box. We have to allow the people to exercise their rights. But what must be very important that in the exercise of their rights, we the police must remember one thing. We must never allow things to get out of hand. And if people apply for a license to carry out any sort of genuine protest, let them do what they want to do. Even have them organize, escort them along the way and do it. Let them go where they want to do and do what they want to do as long as it's within the law. But don't think that everybody's going to create a riot. It's so fearful that some things will happen. And it's this sort of psychology sometimes that frightens police leaders in the chair. Not because they don't want to, because they see the worst in everything. You see, I have been in the police force. I know what my CID people think. And I know one thing, I feel that nobody should be allowed to stay in the CID more than 5 years in such. Because the CID, the moment they start working, they deal with people or suspects who supposed to have broken the law. After 5 years, they think everybody's a criminal. That's the whole trouble. I mean, they're prejudiced, and they just look for ingredients to prove their case. Penal code, oh, these are the ingredients. You get all the ingredients, okay. So they just go for those ingredients to convict people. If they find some things to disprove the ingredients, they keep quiet, some of them. And that's why they must get out of this sort of psychology. Now, as far as I can see, in the context of the present political and social environment, any one of the 8 who are eligible can be the IGP. But every time you put a new IGP in the chair, the poor fella will take some time to settle down. He's so worried whether he get into trouble or not. And it takes him some time to get used to the job, to make sure he doesn't antagonize anybody, the opposition or the government. That is, if he's willing to do the job in a very professional manner. So you're going to waste some time there. But if you must change the IGP, I would suggest let the most senior fellow take over. Correct. Because if you choose somebody who is equally good and is not the most senior one, you're creating a case for a lot of problems within the police force again.
Thank you. Terima kasih banyak untuk cadangan. Thank you.